Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. My name is Michael Weiss. Excuse me. This is a healthcare show, and today's show is about social media and healthcare. But before I go into the show, it is Memorial Day 2010, so I would just like to acknowledge my sincere appreciation of the sacrifices and the bravery of the men and women around the world who are out there fighting for my freedom. And I express this same appreciation to their families, and I hope they come home safe and sound. Okay. Social media and healthcare. There are thousands of videos on this because once someone sees a hospital or a physician practice have a Facebook fan page or a website or a Twitter account, they're convinced that, wow, social media, it's great. I have a doctor who's hip, it's great. It's not always the case, and I want to explain why. It's not their fault either, but I want to explain why. Well, who am I? I'm somewhat of a professional hospital patient, unfortunately. I have something called Crohn's disease. I wrote a book called Confessions of a Professional Hospital Patient. Crohn's disease is something that is, it's an autoimmune illness that's incurable, so I've had it for about 25 years, been hospitalized over 100 times. I've had about 15 major surgeries, and this book details what it's been like. And it does so, from what people tell me, in a real accurate, almost painfully, for me, accurate, but it's funny, somewhat embarrassing, but it tells it like it is, and it's not a hatchet job on doctors or hospitals, quite the contrary, because I go out of my way to show my appreciation for the nurses and the doctors who were fantastic to me. Anyways, patients seem to like it, and from what I'm told, people who love those patients, like their family, seem to like it because they get better insight into their family member. So you could purchase it at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or on my site, HospitalPatient.com. And on my site, there's a sample chapter called The Emergency Room. It's very demonstrative of the rest of the book. So if you happen to like that chapter, then you'd probably like the book. Okay. Social media. Now, I've learned through experimentation and study, but I've learned that social media it's a two-way street. It's a medium of engagement. So while doctors and hospitals mean well by putting up Facebook fan pages and they make themselves very accessible with websites and whatnot, they have so many things constricting them, ethical rules, legal rules, logical rules, where at the moment they're just giving out information, they're not giving out advice. It's a very important distinction because some people, some patients will misconstrue that, and then I feel bad for doctors and hospitals. So it's just information. And one of the points of this video is that I'd love to see social media change where doctors and hospitals can do more than that, because we're all doing more than that. We're banking on the web. We're doing everything on the web. So it's going to change, but it's not there yet. So when people say social media, doctor, it's not there yet. Now, from a patient perspective, there are tremendous resources. Personally, with someone who has a chronic illness, and mine is Crohn's disease, the Crohn's Forum is an incredible message board. The Crohn's Disease Support Network, CDSN, incredible. And on these message boards, you share your stories with other people, and you learn from them, they learn from you, and it really, really helps. But what doesn't help is that when you see statistics that people and patients are running online before a procedure or a hospital visit, and they're Googling, or they're going to Wikipedia to find out more. Now, Google's great, and there's so much great information online. Be careful with Wikipedia. That's sort of like going to the National Enquirer for your news. It's kind of true. It's going to be true. It's not completely true. Be careful. But there's another entity here, the government. I think the government needs to understand that social media is here to stay. And like I said, it's engagement. And I think they've done a great job. President Obama has seemingly brought the administration into technology, which is great. but it's a video society now. Newspapers, unfortunately, a lot of them are going out of business because the web is cannibalizing their print sales. So now journalists have to be print and video journalists. I'd like to think of myself as one, but that's what you have to be. So if you're a doctor or a facility, you need to offer a little bit more than just information. And it's hard because you can't diagnose someone through Skype. So I think there's going to be a lot more changes. So what we think of social media now is not going to be what it eventually is, because doctors need to be protected, as do hospitals. But on the other hand, it would be great if patients came out of hospitals and started doing opinions on what their experiences were like. I mean, my book is sort of like that. It doesn't specify a particular hospital, but you sort of get the feel of my opinion on particular hospitals. Well, very much like Yelp.com does with restaurants and all sorts of services. Well, patients are consumers. I think that we have the right to do that, but it's a right that we have to be very responsible with, because it would not be fair for someone to put up some chastising review of a physician when it was just a bad experience or a personality conflict. So these are the things that sort of have to be worked out. But I think social media could be incredible. I mean, think about it. We could presently share information on a real-time basis. Let's say a new medication is out. We could share information so quickly that the pharmaceutical company in 24 to 48 hours would know, oh boy, this doesn't work, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. I mean, we use social media to rally the troops, and I use that word, I mean people, not troops. I had to distinguish because it is a day where we're thinking about our troops. We rally our troops to raise money for Haiti or other disasters, and I think we can do that with healthcare. But we need to be honest. We need to rely upon the information. So whatever the banking industry did to somehow get over that hurdle where people trust the internet with banking, I think social media needs to get over one more hurdle where hospitals and doctors really interact with patients. And patients' expectations have to be realistic, because your doctor cannot diagnose you through a computer. Just some thoughts. I think we have a long way to go, but I think we're going there, and that's promising. And from my experiences on Twitter, I think that there are doctors out there who can't wait to be more progressive because they want to help as many people as possible, as do hospitals. So I think that's great. But patients and people should understand that they are constricted by rules of their profession, just like lawyers are. So keep that in mind. Try to help them. Be honest. Don't have high expectations. And then I think social media could be incredibly effective. So that's my thoughts for the day. If you have any opinions on what I said, or if you'd like me to cover certain issues, feel free to contact me. Leave a comment. Subscribe to this YouTube video, or find me on Twitter at Hospital Patient. And my email address is michaelweiss@hospitalpatient.com. Thank you, and have a nice holiday.